May lifts limit on number of NHS foreign doctors and nurses from outside Europe, but migration control campaigners said the government was wrong simply to open the door to yet more foreign workers. The Prime Minister has so far resisted calls to remove international students from immigration statistics and more generally to scrap the Conservative target of cutting overall net migration to under 100,000, from 244,000 a year in latest figures. But she has now bowed to pressure from Mr. Javid and other cabinet ministers to remove doctors and nurses from the annual cap on non-EU skilled workers coming to Britain on Tier 2 visas, as well as helping the NHS, which reportedly had to turn away more than 1,500 non-European doctors between December 2017 and March because of the cap. It will free up places for an estimated 6,000 to 8,000 more skilled workers a year in other professions like engineering, teaching and IT. There is an annual limit of 20,700, split over 12 months, on certificates of sponsorship for UK employers to non-EU skilled workers through the Tier 2 visa system. The limit was introduced when Mrs. May was Home Secretary and it has been breached every month since December, largely due to demand from the NHS, which accounts for about 40% of Tier 2 visas. Once the monthly cap is exceeded, employers can recruit only non-Europeans for official shortage occupations, with PhD-level jobs and planned salaries over a certain level also factors. Mr. Javid is understood to have assured Mrs. May that his new policy is only to tackle a short-term NHS crisis with knock-on effects for the wider economy, does not change his position on net migration, and that the UK's ultimate goal must be to train more British doctors. Health Secretary Mr. Hunt stressed the government was working to increase the supply of British staff, including by increasing the number of training places for homegrown doctors and nurses by 25%, and raising NHS pay. But he added, overseas staff have been a vital part of our NHS since its creation 70 years ago. It's fantastic that patients will now benefit from the care of thousands more talented staff. Mrs. May's official spokesman insisted, we remain absolutely committed to bringing immigration down to sustainable levels. Medical organizations welcomed the change, although they awaited the details. Business groups urged Mr. Javid to go further and set migration rules according to the economy's needs, not numbers. Jane Graddon, of the British Chambers of Commerce, declared, the government should remove the arbitrary migration target, and scrap the cap on Tier 2 visas across industry. The current policy hurts business and dissuades some of the best and brightest from coming to the UK, and any changes must help firms compete on the global stage. But Alp Mehmet, Vice Chairman of Migration Watch UK, said, bringing medical staff from overseas is no answer to short-sighted attitudes to recruitment and retention that have gone on for a generation now. There are huge numbers of capable people here who are keen for a career in healthcare. Let's invest more in them rather than rely on recruiting doctors and nurses from countries whose needs far outweigh our own. The group says the change could not only mean thousands more foreign workers but unlimited numbers of medics, when the aim should be opportunities for UK workers as well as answering the public's calls for reduced immigration. It said the Independent Migration Advisory Committee, which advises the government, had said there was no reason why nurses could not be found within the UK and had lamented that NHS employers used foreign recruits as a cheap option. Some medical professionals including nurses are already on the official shortage occupation list, which means they can build up enough points for admission without also having to passing qualification and salary thresholds.